The cold metal floor of the command bridge vibrated under Colonel Marcus Chen's boots as another explosion rocked the asteroid mining station. Through the thick glass windows he could see the twisted remains of what used to be Processing Unit 7. The Zephyrians had hit it 3 hours ago, and the fires were still burning in the vacuum of space. Chen pressed his hand against the glass and closed his eyes for a moment. 3 years of war. 3 years of watching human colonies burn while Earth's leaders talked about strategy and hope. The Zephyrians had better ships, better weapons, and better everything. Humanity was losing this war and everyone knew it. "Sir, we're getting something strange on the long-range scanner," Sergeant Maria Santos called from her station. Her voice was tired like everyone else's. They had been fighting for 16 hours straight, and the next shift wouldn't arrive for another 4 hours. Chen turned away from the window and walked to Santos's station. The green glow of the scanner showed dozens of small dots moving through space. Some were human ships, some were debris, and some were Zephyrian fighters that might attack at any moment. "What kind of strange?" Chen asked. Santos pointed to a cluster of red dots near the edge of the screen. "Those ships just appeared out of nowhere. They're not moving like they want to fight. They're just sitting there." Lieutenant David Kim looked up from his communication station. "Colonel, I'm getting a transmission from those ships. It's on all frequencies and it's not encrypted." Chen felt his stomach tighten. In 3 years of war, the Zephyrians had never sent unencrypted messages. They were always careful about their communications. This felt wrong. "Put it through," Chen said. The main screen flickered, and suddenly they were looking at a creature that still made Chen's skin crawl, even after 3 years. Ambassador Velthar of the Zephyrian High Council stood before them. He was tall and thin, with gray skin that looked like old leather. His eyes were large and black, and when he spoke, his voice sounded like metal scraping against stone. "People of Earth," Velthar began, "I come to you with an offer that could end the suffering of both our species." Chen crossed his arms and studied the alien's face. Something about the way Velthar moved seemed different. His usual confidence was there, but there was something else. Something that felt like a trap. "The Zephyrian High Council has decided that this war has gone on too long," the ambassador continued. "Both our peoples have suffered greatly. We have lost ships and soldiers. You have lost colonies and families. This destruction serves no one," Santos whispered. "Is he really asking for peace?" Chen held up his hand for silence. He wanted to hear every word. "Therefore," Velthar said, "the High Council proposes an immediate ceasefire. We wish to meet with your leaders to discuss terms for a permanent peace treaty. We believe that our two species can coexist, trade, and even help each other grow stronger." The message ended and the screen went black. For a long moment, nobody on the bridge said anything. Then Kim started laughing. "Peace?" Kim said. "They want peace. After 3 years of trying to wipe us out?" Santos was already working on her communication equipment. "I need to send this to Earth Command immediately." This could be the break we've been waiting for. But Chen wasn't celebrating. He was thinking about the last time he had seen Velthar. It was 2 years ago during the attack on Europa Station. Chen had been there with his wife Sarah and their 8-year-old daughter Emma. They were supposed to be safe on Europa. It was supposed to be too far from the front lines for the Zephyrians to reach. Chen remembered watching the Zephyrian ships arrive through Europa's observation deck. He remembered Velthar's face on the communication screen as he demanded the station's surrender. He remembered the ambassador's cold smile when the station commander refused. Velthar had not seemed interested in peace that day. He had seemed interested in killing every human in the station. Chen had managed to get to an escape pod, but Sarah and Emma had been on the other side of the station when the Zephyrians started firing. By the time rescue ships arrived, there was nothing left of Europa Station except pieces of metal floating in space. "Colonel?" Santos was looking at him with concern. "Should I send the message to Earth Command?" Chen nodded slowly. "Send it. But also send them our tactical analysis of Zephyrian ship movements in this sector over the past week." "Sir?" "Just do it, Sergeant." While Santos worked on the transmission, Chen walked to the tactical display table. He pulled up the records of Zephyrian activities in their sector. For the past 2 weeks he had noticed something odd. The alien ships were not attacking as aggressively as usual. They seemed to be moving into new positions but not retreating. Chen traced the ship movements with his finger. The Zephyrians were spreading out. but they were also getting closer to major human supply lines. It looked less like a retreat and more like they were getting ready for something big. Kim joined him at the table. "What are you thinking, Colonel?" "I'm thinking that in 3 years of war, the Zephyrians have never shown mercy. They've never asked for peace. They've never done anything except try to kill us." Chen looked up at Kim. "So why are they asking for peace now?" "Maybe they're tired of fighting too," Kim suggested. "Maybe they've lost more ships than we thought." Chen shook his head. "Look at these movement patterns. Do these look like the movements of a beaten enemy?" Kim studied the display for a moment. "They look like positioning for an attack." "Exactly." Santos finished her transmission and walked over to them. "Earth Command confirms receipt of both the peace message and our tactical data. They're calling an emergency session of the Joint Chiefs to discuss response options." Chen nodded, but his mind was elsewhere. He was thinking about Europa Station again. He was thinking about Sarah's last message to him, which he had received 3 days after she died. She had recorded it just before the attack, and in it she was excited about Emma's school play. She was planning their next vacation. She believed they were safe. Chen had learned not to trust feelings of safety. He had learned that the Zephyrians were smart and patient and cruel, and he had learned that sometimes the thing you wanted most in the world was exactly what your enemy wanted you to want. "Sir," Kim said quietly, "even if you're right about this being a trap, what choice do we have? We're losing this war. If there's even a small chance for real peace." Chen looked at the young lieutenant. Kim had only been in the war for 6 months. He had not seen what Chen had seen. He had not learned what Chen had learned. "You're right," Chen said. "We don't have a choice. We have to explore every possibility for peace." He paused and looked back at the tactical display, but that doesn't mean we have to trust them. Santos's communication station started beeping. "Colonel, we're getting a response from Earth Command. Admiral Rodriguez wants to speak with you directly." Chen walked to the communication station and activated the secure channel. Admiral Sarah Rodriguez appeared on the screen. She looked tired, but there was something like hope in her eyes. "Marcus," she said, "I need your honest assessment. Do you think this peace offer is genuine?" Chen looked at the woman who had been his commanding officer for 2 years. She had made the hard decisions that had kept Earth in the fight this long. She deserved an honest answer. "No, Admiral," he said. "I think it's a trap." Rodriguez was quiet for a moment. "But we're going to pursue it anyway, aren't we?" "Yes, ma'am. We have to. Then I want you on the negotiation team. If this is a trap, I need someone there who can see it coming." Chen nodded. "Understood, Admiral." The transmission ended and Chen stared at the blank screen. In a few days, he would be sitting across a table from the creatures who had killed his family. He would have to smile and talk about peace while watching for the knife they planned to put in humanity's back. But if he was right about the trap, he might be the only thing standing between the Zephyrians and the complete destruction of the human race. It was not a responsibility he wanted, but it was one he would accept. After all, he had already lost everything that mattered to him. The only thing left was making sure no one else had to lose what he had lost. The conference room on Earth's orbital command station was bigger than Chen had expected. 24 of humanity's most important leaders sat around a massive table made of real wood, something that was rare and expensive after 3 years of war. Chen sat near the back, watching and listening as Admiral Rodriguez presented the peace proposal to the Joint Chiefs. "The Zephyrian terms are surprisingly generous," Rodriguez was saying. She clicked a button, and a holographic display showed a map of human space. "They're offering to withdraw from all occupied territories within 6 months. They want to establish trade relations and are even offering technological assistance for rebuilding our colonies." General Harrison, the head of Earth's ground forces, leaned forward. "What do they want in return?" "Recognition of their territorial claims in the Outer Rim, establishment of formal diplomatic relations and mutual defense agreements," Rodriguez answered. Chen shifted in his chair. The terms were too good. After 3 years of brutal war, the Zephyrians were offering almost everything humanity wanted and asking for very little. It felt like bait. "Colonel Chen," Rodriguez said, turning to him, "you've had the most direct contact with Zephyrian forces in recent months. What's your assessment?" Chen stood up and walked to the front of the room. All eyes were on him, and he could feel the weight of their hope. These people were tired of war. They wanted to believe that peace was possible. "Admirals, generals," Chen began. "I've been fighting the Zephyrians for 3 years. I've studied their tactics, their movements, their behavior patterns. In all that time, they have shown no mercy, no hesitation, and no interest in anything except total victory. He clicked his own button, and the display changed to show Zephyrian ship movements from the past month. Look at these patterns. While they're talking about peace, their fleets are not retreating. They're repositioning, getting closer to our major supply lines and population centers. General Morrison, an older man with gray hair, spoke up. Colonel, isn't it possible that they're simply being cautious? Even if they want peace, they might not trust us either. Chen had expected this question. Sir, I understand that possibility. But look at this. He highlighted several ship formations. These positions don't make sense for defense. They make sense for a coordinated attack. Admiral Rodriguez studied the display. Marcus, these movement patterns could be interpreted multiple ways. We can't base our decision on assumptions. With respect, Admiral, I'm not making assumptions. I'm looking at evidence. Chen brought up another screen. 3 days ago, my intelligence team intercepted partial communications between Zephyrian ships. Most of it was encrypted, but we caught fragments. They mentioned something called the hollow gesture. The room was quiet. Chen continued. In Zephyrian culture, a hollow gesture is a ritual performed before executing an enemy. It's meant to honor the opponent by offering them false hope before the final strike. General Harrison frowned. Colonel, that's a very serious accusation. Do you have more than fragmentary communications to support it? Chen felt his frustration growing. Sir, I have 3 years of experience fighting these creatures. I have tactical analysis showing suspicious fleet movements. I have intercepted communications referencing terms that suggest deception. How much more evidence do you need? We need proof, not suspicion, Admiral Rodriguez said firmly. Marcus, I understand your concerns. But we also have to consider the possibility that you're seeing threats where none exist. You've been on the front lines for 3 years. You've suffered personal losses. It's natural to be suspicious. Chen clenched his fists. They thought he was broken. They thought his judgment was clouded by grief and anger. Maybe they were right, but that didn't mean he was wrong about the Zephyrians. Admiral, Chen said carefully, I request permission to conduct additional intelligence gathering during the peace talks. If I'm wrong, no harm done. If I'm right, we'll be ready. Rodriguez exchanged glances with the other officers. Marcus, the peace talks are too important to risk disruption. I'm assigning you as military advisor, but you'll observe only. No unauthorized intelligence operations. Chen felt a cold anger building in his chest. And if I discover evidence of deception during the talks? Then you'll report it through proper channels and we'll evaluate it appropriately, Rodriguez said. But Marcus, I want to be clear. Any action that could jeopardize these negotiations will be considered an act of insubordination. Do you understand? Chen stared at the Admiral for a long moment. She was a good officer and a good person. She was also making a mistake that could cost humanity everything. I understand, Admiral, Chen said. 2 days later, Chen stood on the observation deck of Concordia Station, watching Zephyrian ships dock with the neutral space station. The station had been built specifically for these peace talks, positioned exactly halfway between Earth and Zephyrian space. It was supposed to be a symbol of hope and cooperation. Chen watched the alien ships through the thick windows and thought about Sarah and Emma. Sarah would have been excited about the peace talks. She had always believed that different species could learn to live together. Emma would have asked a million questions about the alien technology and culture. Impressive ship, a voice said beside him. Chen turned to see Captain Elena Vasquez, one of Earth's intelligence officers. She was young, maybe 30, with sharp eyes and short black hair. Chen had worked with her before and respected her skills. Yes, Chen said, very impressive, and very well armed for ships coming to peace talks. Vasquez looked at him curiously. You don't trust them, should I? I don't know, Vasquez said honestly, but I've been reviewing the intelligence data you submitted. Some of your concerns are worth investigating. Chen felt a small spark of hope. What have you found? Nothing conclusive yet. But there are some inconsistencies in the Zephyrian negotiating team. Several of the delegates aren't in our diplomatic databases. They appeared out of nowhere for these talks. Military specialists disguised as diplomats? Chen suggested. Possibly. I'm trying to verify their identities, but it's slow work. The Zephyrians are very careful about their personnel records. Chen nodded. Keep me informed. And Captain, be careful who you share your findings with. There are people who don't want to hear anything that might threaten these talks. Vasquez studied his face. You think someone would suppress evidence of Zephyrian deception? I think people see what they want to see. And right now everyone wants to see peace. The first formal session began an hour later. Chen sat in the back of the negotiation chamber, watching Ambassador Velthar and his team interact with the human delegates. The aliens were polite, respectful, and seemingly sincere in their desire for peace. But Chen noticed things that others missed. The way Velthar's aide kept checking a small device on his wrist. The way two of the Zephyrian delegates positioned themselves near the chamber's main exits. The way their eyes constantly scanned the room. Not like diplomats, but like soldiers evaluating threats and escape routes. During a break in the negotiations, Chen approached Admiral Rodriguez. Admiral, I need to speak with you privately. Rodriguez looked tired. The talks had been going on for 6 hours, and the Zephyrians were asking detailed questions about human fleet positions and defensive capabilities. They claimed it was necessary for coordinating the withdrawal of their forces. Marcus, this isn't a good time, Rodriguez said. Admiral, they're asking for too much information. Fleet positions, defensive installations, command structures. That's not diplomatic information. That's military intelligence. They need that information to coordinate their withdrawal, Rodriguez said patiently. We can't expect them to pull back their forces without knowing where our forces are positioned. Chen wanted to grab her by the shoulders and shake her. Admiral, please listen to me. I've been watching their team. Half of these people aren't diplomats. They're military. How can you possibly know that? Body language, positioning, the way they observe the room. I've been fighting soldiers for 3 years. I know what they look like. Rodriguez rubbed her temples. Marcus, you're seeing soldiers because you're a soldier. To you, everyone looks like a potential threat. Maybe that's because everyone is a potential threat, Chen said. That's enough, Rodriguez said firmly. You're starting to sound paranoid. I want you to return to your quarters and get some rest. That's an order, Chen stared at her. Admiral, that's an order, Colonel. Chen walked back to his quarters, but he didn't rest. Instead, he activated his personal communication system and sent an encrypted message to Sergeant Santos and Lieutenant Kim back at the asteroid base. If Admiral Rodriguez wouldn't listen to his concerns, he would have to investigate them himself. 3 hours later, his communication system chirped with an incoming message. It was Santos, and she sounded excited. Colonel, you need to see this. We intercepted another Zephyrian transmission. This one was better encrypted, but Kim managed to break part of it. Chen activated the secure channel. What did you find? Kim's voice came through the speaker. Sir, we got fragments of what sounds like operational planning. We caught references to Cleansing Dawn and timeline references that matched the peace talk schedule. Chen felt his blood turn cold. Cleansing Dawn? Yes, sir. And Colonel, the timeline suggests that whatever they're planning is supposed to happen right after the Chen stood in the empty cargo bay of Concordia Station at 3 a.m, waiting for Captain Vasquez to arrive. The peace talks had been going on for 5 days, and every day brought more questions from the Zephyrians about human military capabilities. Every day, Earth's leaders provided more answers. Footsteps echoed in the darkness, and Vasquez appeared from behind a stack of supply containers. She looked tired and worried. This better be important, Colonel, she said. If Admiral Rodriguez finds out I'm meeting with you in secret, we'll both be in trouble. Chen handed her a datapad. Take a look at this intelligence summary. My team has been monitoring Zephyrian communications for the past week. Vasquez activated the pad and read in silence for several minutes. Chen watched her expression change from skepticism to concern to alarm. Where did you get this? She asked. Sources I trust. The important question is whether you believe it. Vasquez read through the data again. These communication intercepts mention Operation Cleansing Dawn multiple times. And the timeline? She looked up at Chen. They're planning something for tomorrow night. The same night as the peace treaty signing ceremony, Chen said. This could be interpreted different ways, Vasquez said carefully. Maybe Cleansing Dawn is their internal code name for withdrawing their forces. Chen shook his head. Captain, in 3 years of war, the Zephyrians have never used the word cleansing to describe anything peaceful. When they cleanse something, it means they destroy it completely. Vasquez was quiet for a long moment. Even if you're right, this intelligence is circumstantial. We have fragments of intercepted communications and suspicious timing. It's not enough to convince Admiral Rodriguez to call off the peace talks. Then what do you suggest? We gather more evidence. Real proof that can't be dismissed or explained away. Chen nodded. What do you need from me? Access to the Zephyrian quarters. I want to plant some monitoring devices. If they're planning an attack, they'll need to coordinate with their forces outside the station. Chen thought about this. Planting surveillance devices in the alien quarters would be a serious violation of the peace accord. If they were caught, it would end any chance of real peace negotiations. But if they didn't act and Chen's suspicions were correct, there might not be anyone left to negotiate with. I can get you access, Chen said. But we'll need help, and we'll need to be very careful. The next day, Chen sent coded messages to 3 people he trusted completely. Sergeant Santos and Lieutenant Kim received orders to report to Concordia Station for additional security duties. Commander Jake Phillips, an old friend who ran station security, received a request for consultation on protective protocols. By evening, Chen had assembled a small team of people who shared his concerns about Zephyrian intentions. They met in Phillips's security office after the day's negotiations had ended. Let me be clear about what we're discussing, Phillips said. He was a big man with gray hair and scars on his hands from 20 years of military service. You want to conduct unauthorized surveillance on our guests during peace negotiations. If we're caught, it will be considered an act of espionage and possibly an act of war. Santos shifted in her chair. Commander, with respect, if Colonel Chen is right, we're already at war. The Zephyrians are just waiting for the right moment to finish it. Kim nodded. Sir, the communication intercepts are too specific to ignore. Operation Cleansing Dawn, timing that matches the treaty signing, references to final victory. It all points to a coordinated attack. Phillips looked at Chen. Marcus, you know these people better than anyone. Are you certain about this? Chen thought about Sarah and Emma again. He thought about Europa Station and all the other colonies that had burned while humanity hoped for peace. Jake, I've never been more certain of anything in my life, Chen said. The Zephyrians are planning to use the treaty signing ceremony to eliminate Earth's leadership. If we don't stop them, the war ends tomorrow night with humanity's complete defeat. Phillips was quiet for a moment. All right. What do you need? Vasquez spread out the station blueprints on Phillips's desk. The Zephyrian quarters are here on level 7. I need 30 minutes inside their main conference room to plant monitoring devices. Security sweeps happen every 2 hours, Phillips said. The next one is at midnight. If we do this, it has to be between midnight and 2 a.m. What about the Zephyrians themselves? Santos asked. They've been following a regular schedule, Kim said. Most of them return to their quarters by 11 p.m. Ambassador Velthar usually stays up later, but he works in his private office, not the conference room. Chen studied the blueprints. Security cameras? I can loop the footage for 45 minutes, Phillips said. After that, the system will flag the anomaly and trigger an automatic review. 45 minutes should be enough, Vasquez said. But we'll need someone to watch for Zephyrian movement while I work. I'll do it, Chen said. Marcus, if you're caught in their quarters, it will look like you're trying to sabotage the peace talks, Phillips warned. If I'm right about their plans, there won't be any peace talks to sabotage, Chen replied. At 12:15 a.m., Chen and Vasquez made their way to level 7. The corridor was empty and dimly lit. Emergency lighting cast long shadows on the walls, and their footsteps seemed too loud in the silence. Chen positioned himself at the corridor intersection, where he could watch for approaching Zephyrians while maintaining visual contact with Vasquez. She worked quickly and quietly, placing tiny monitoring devices near the conference room's communication panel and ventilation system. 20 minutes passed without incident. Then Chen heard footsteps approaching from the direction of the alien quarters. He signaled Vasquez, who immediately stopped working and prepared to hide. Ambassador Velthar appeared around the corner, walking slowly and checking a small device in his hand. Chen pressed himself against the wall, hoping the shadows would hide him. The ambassador paused directly in front of the conference room entrance. For a terrifying moment, Chen thought Velthar was going to enter the room and discover Vasquez. But the alien simply stood there, studying his device. After what felt like hours but was probably only 30 seconds, Velthar continued down the corridor toward his private office. Chen waited until the footsteps faded, then signaled Vasquez to continue. She finished installing the monitoring devices and carefully erased any signs of her presence. They were back in Phillips's office by 1:30 a.m. "Devices are active," Vasquez reported. "We should start receiving intercepts within the hour." They didn't have to wait that long. At 2:15 a.m., the monitoring system detected its first transmission. Vasquez activated the translation software, and they listened to a conversation between two Zephyrian officers. "Cleansing Dawn teams are in position," the first voice said. "All targets have been confirmed." "Excellent," replied the second voice. "The ceremony begins at 8 p.m. tomorrow. At exactly 8:45, when the humans are focused on the treaty signing, we execute Phase 1. What about the human security forces on the station? Our advanced teams have been studying their protocols for a week. They will be neutralized quickly." Chen felt his blood turn cold. The Zephyrians had advanced teams on the station. They had been planning this operation for at least a week, possibly longer. "Phase 2 targets?" the first voice asked. "Luna Base Command Structure, Mars Defense Headquarters, and the Jupiter Fleet Command. Simultaneous strikes to eliminate all major command centers." Vasquez looked at Chen with wide eyes. "They're not just planning to attack the station. They're planning to destroy humanity's entire military leadership in one coordinated operation." The transmission continued. "What about Earth itself? Phase 3. Once the command structure is eliminated, the remaining human forces will be leaderless and confused. Our main fleet will move in for the final assault on Earth's orbital defenses." Chen stood up abruptly. "We have to warn Admiral Rodriguez immediately." "Wait," Vasquez said. "We need to record everything. This is the proof we need." They listened for another hour, recording detailed plans for the complete destruction of humanity's military and political leadership. The Zephyrians had planned everything perfectly. The peace treaty signing ceremony was just a cover for the largest military operation in the history of the war. At 4 a.m., Chen and Vasquez went to Admiral Rodriguez's quarters. She answered the door in her sleeping clothes, looking annoyed at being woken up. "This better be an emergency," Rodriguez said. "Admiral, we have proof that the Zephyrians are planning to attack during the treaty signing ceremony," Chen said. Rodriguez stared at him. "Marcus, we talked about this. You're not supposed to be conducting unauthorized investigations." "Admiral, please," Vasquez interrupted. "We have recordings of Zephyrian communications that detail their entire operation. They call it Cleansing Dawn, and it's scheduled to begin during tomorrow night's ceremony." Rodriguez looked at both of them suspiciously. "How did you obtain these recordings?" Chen and Vasquez exchanged glances. "We planted monitoring devices in their conference room," Chen admitted. Rodriguez's face turned red with anger. "You did what?" "Colonel Chen, you just committed an act of espionage against our peace negotiation partners." "Captain Vasquez, your superior." Chen lay on his cell bunk, pretending to sleep while listening to the guard outside. For 6 hours he had been studying the man's routine. Every 30 minutes the guard walked to the end of the corridor and back. The walk took exactly 3 minutes. At 2 p.m. Chen heard the guard's footsteps moving away from the cell door. He immediately sat up and pulled a small metal strip from his boot, a piece of debris he had picked up during the war and kept as a tool. Vasquez watched as he worked on the cell door lock. "This is insane," she whispered. "Even if we escape, where can we go? Every security officer on the station will be looking for us." "We're not staying on the station," Chen said, carefully manipulating the lock mechanism. "We're going to Luna Base." "Luna Base?" "Marcus, that's where the ceremony is taking place. It will be the most heavily guarded location in human space." Chen felt the lock click open, which is exactly why the Zephyrians chose it for their attack. They want to eliminate as many leaders as possible in one strike. They slipped out of the cell just as the guard began his return walk. Chen and Vasquez moved quickly down a side corridor that led to the station's maintenance areas. Phillips had shown Chen these passages during their security briefing. 20 minutes later, they reached the small cargo bay where Phillips kept emergency supplies. Chen activated a communication terminal and sent an encrypted message to Santos and Kim. "Cargo Bay 7, now," was all the message said. Santos and Kim arrived within minutes, looking confused and worried. "Colonel, what are you doing out of detention?" Kim asked. "Trying to save humanity," Chen said. "I need you both to listen carefully. The Zephyrians are planning to attack during the treaty ceremony. The entire operation is designed to eliminate Earth's leadership and leave our forces leaderless for their final assault." Santos frowned. "Sir, Admiral Rodriguez said you were arrested for conducting illegal surveillance." I was. And that surveillance proved that the peace talks are a trap. Chen activated the terminal and played the recorded Zephyrian communications. Kim's face went pale as he listened to the alien voices discussing Phase 1, Phase 2, and Phase 3 of Operation Cleansing Dawn. My God, Santos whispered. They're planning to kill everyone. Which is why we have to get to Luna Base and warn them, Chen said. But first we need a ship. Phillips appeared in the cargo bay entrance. I thought I might find you here, he said. Chen tensed, ready to fight if necessary, but Phillips held up his hands. Relax, Marcus. I'm not here to arrest you. Jake, I've been monitoring security communications for the past 2 hours, Phillips said. Some interesting things are happening that support your theory about Zephyrian intentions. He activated his own datapad. 3 hours ago, a Zephyrian supply ship docked with the station. According to their manifest, they were delivering ceremonial items for the treaty signing, but my sensors detected some unusual energy signatures from their cargo. What kind of signatures? Vasquez asked. The kind you get from military-grade explosives and weapons, Phillips said grimly. Chen felt a mixture of vindication and terror. They're smuggling weapons onto the station. It gets worse. I just received a priority message from Luna Base Security. They've detected similar energy signatures from Zephyrian cultural exchange ships that arrived there over the past week. Kim looked confused. Cultural exchange ships? Part of the peace agreement, Phillips explained. The Zephyrians asked permission to send cultural ambassadors to various human installations as a gesture of goodwill. Luna Base, Mars Defense Headquarters, Jupiter Fleet Command. The same targets mentioned in their communication intercepts, Vasquez said. Phillips nodded. Marcus, I think you're right. The question is, what do we do about it? Chen was already moving toward the cargo bay's small spacecraft. We take a fast courier ship and get to Luna Base before the ceremony starts. We have 4 hours. What about Admiral Rodriguez? Santos asked. She'll never believe us without more proof. Then we get more proof, Chen said. Jake, can you access the security recordings from the Zephyrian supply ship? Phillips worked on his terminal for several minutes. I can give you external scans, but the internal cargo areas were shielded from detailed surveillance. That's suspicious enough, Chen said. Download everything you have to a portable storage device. If we can get to Luna Base and show them evidence of weapon smuggling, someone might listen. Phillips prepared the data while Chen and his team checked the courier ship systems. It was a small, fast vessel designed for emergency communications between installations. It would be perfect for their needs, Marcus, Phillips said, handing him the storage device. If you're wrong about this, you'll be court-martialed and probably imprisoned for the rest of your life. Chen took the device and looked at his small team. Santos and Kim were young and had their whole careers ahead of them. Vasquez was a skilled intelligence officer with a bright future. Phillips was risking his position as station commander. Anyone who wants to stay behind can do so with no questions asked, Chen said. This is my responsibility. With respect, Colonel, Santos said, you're not getting rid of us that easily. If the Zephyrians are planning what you think they're planning, someone has to stop them. Kim nodded. Besides, sir, we've followed you this far. Vasquez was already climbing into the courier ship. Let's go save the human race. Phillips watched them prepare for departure. I'll stay here and monitor communications. If the Zephyrians realize you've escaped, I'll try to delay any pursuit. The courier ship launched from Concordia Station without clearance, triggering immediate alarms and pursuit protocols. Chen pushed the engines to maximum power, racing toward Luna Base while 3 security ships chased them. Luna Base traffic control to unidentified courier ship. A voice crackled over the communication system. You are ordered to stop immediately and return to Concordia Station. Chen activated the transmitter. Luna Base, this is Colonel Marcus Chen, Earth Defense Forces. I have critical intelligence regarding a threat to the peace ceremony. I request immediate landing clearance. Negative, Colonel Chen. You are under arrest for espionage and desertion. Return to Concordia Station immediately or you will be fired upon. Chen looked at his team. Anyone want to change their minds? Keep flying, Colonel, Kim said. The courier ship streaked through space toward Luna Base while the pursuing security ships closed the distance. Chen could see the base growing larger through the front window. A massive installation built into the lunar surface, surrounded by defensive platforms and patrol ships. Colonel, Santos said from the sensor station, I'm detecting some unusual activity around Luna Base. Chen checked the sensor readings. Dozens of ships were docked with the base or in close orbit. Most were human vessels bringing delegates and security personnel for the ceremony, but several were Zephyrian ships, more than Chen would have expected for a simple diplomatic mission. Those ships are positioned for a coordinated attack, Vasquez observed. They have clear firing solutions on the base's main defensive systems. Chen activated the communication system again. Luna Base, this is Colonel Chen. I'm transmitting data that proves the Zephyrians are planning to attack during the ceremony. Please review the intelligence immediately. Colonel Chen, you will cease this transmission and surrender immediately, came the reply. The pursuing security ships were almost within weapons range. Chen made a decision that would either save humanity or end his life. I'm not surrendering, he transmitted on all frequencies. Luna Base. The Zephyrians have been smuggling weapons and military personnel to your location under the cover of diplomatic missions. They call their operation Cleansing Dawn, and it's designed to eliminate Earth's entire leadership in one coordinated strike. Colonel Chen, you are in violation of multiple military regulations and are spreading false information that threatens critical peace negotiations. Chen felt desperate. In 2 hours, the ceremony would begin. Earth's most important leaders would gather in Luna Base's main conference center, where Zephyrian honor guards would be positioned throughout the facility. Listen to me. Chen shouted into the transmitter. Check the energy signatures from the Zephyrian ships. Scan their personnel for military backgrounds. Look at the positioning of their honor guards. Everything points to a coordinated attack. The pursuing security ships opened fire, sending energy bolts past the courier ship as warning shots. Chen took evasive action, diving toward Luna Base's surface while trying to avoid the defensive platforms. Colonel, Kim said urgently, we're getting a communication from someone on Luna Base. It's not coming through official channels. Chen accepted the transmission. A woman's voice came through the speaker. Colonel Chen, this is Commander Lisa Park, Luna Base Intelligence. I've been reviewing the data you transmitted. We need to talk. Chen felt a surge of hope. Commander, do you believe the intelligence? I'm not sure yet, but there are some things happening here that support your concerns. Can you reach Landing Bay 12 without being shot down? Chen checked his navigation display. Landing Bay 12 was on the far side of the base, away from the main defensive systems. I can try. Do it. I'll have a security team waiting, but they'll be there to protect you, not arrest you. Chen guided the courier ship through Luna Base's defensive perimeter, while energy bolts flashed around them. The pursuing security ships had to break off their attack. Commander Park led Chen and his team through Luna Base's maintenance corridors toward the main conference center. The ceremony was scheduled to begin in 40 minutes, and they could hear the sounds of final preparations echoing through the passages. I've been studying the Zephyrian honor guard positions, Park said as they moved. They're not positioned for ceremonial purposes. They're positioned for maximum tactical advantage. Chen nodded. How many of them are there? 12 in the main conference center, 6 more in the corridor approaches, and another 8 positioned near critical systems throughout the base. Park paused at an intersection. If they're really planning an attack, they could disable our communications and defensive systems while eliminating the leadership. Vasquez checked her scanner. Commander, I'm detecting energy signatures from the honor guards that don't match ceremonial equipment. What kind of signatures? Military-grade weapons and what looks like demolition charges. Park stopped walking. Demolition charges where? Kim pulled out his own scanner and studied the readings. Near the main power grid and the communication array. If those charges detonate, Luna Base will lose all power and communication capability. Chen felt the familiar cold anger building in his chest. The Zephyrians had planned everything perfectly. Eliminate the leadership, cut communications, disable defenses, and then signal their main fleet for the final assault on Earth. We have to warn Admiral Rodriguez immediately, Santos said. Park shook her head. She won't listen. She's convinced that Colonel Chen is suffering from combat stress and seeing threats where none exist. Then what do you suggest? Chen asked. We gather proof that can't be dismissed. Solid physical evidence of Zephyrian weapons and explosives. Park checked her watch. The ceremony begins in 35 minutes. We have maybe 20 minutes before the delegates take their seats. Chen studied the base layout on Park's terminal. The Zephyrian honor guards will be in position already. If we try to scan them directly, they'll know we're onto them. What about their preparation area? Vasquez suggested. They must have assembled their equipment somewhere before taking positions. Park nodded. Level 7, Section C. It's been designated as their staging area. They made their way to Level 7 through service passages that avoided the main corridors. The staging area was supposed to be empty now, with all the honor guards at their ceremonial positions. But as they approached, they could hear voices speaking in the harsh Zephyrian language. Chen pressed himself against the corridor wall and carefully looked around the corner. 3 Zephyrians were working over what appeared to be a communication device, but this wasn't standard diplomatic equipment. It was a military command transmitter capable of coordinating attacks across multiple star systems. One of the aliens spoke into the device. Chen's translation implant converted the words, Phase 1 teams report ready. All targets confirmed. Another voice crackled through the transmitter from somewhere else. Phase 2 teams standing by. Mars and Jupiter installations are prepared for simultaneous strikes. Chen pulled back and whispered to Park. They're coordinating the final attack preparations. Park activated her recording equipment. If we can get clear recordings of their communications, it will be proof that even Admiral Rodriguez can't dismiss. They listened for 10 more minutes, recording detailed discussions of the attack plan. The Zephyrians confirmed that explosives were placed throughout Luna Base, that assassination teams were positioned near each major leader, and that their main fleet was moving into position for the final assault on Earth. Enough, Chen whispered. We have what we need. But as they started to withdraw, one of the Zephyrians spoke again. Human security teams are approaching our position. Initiate early activation. Chen realized with horror that they had been detected. The Zephyrians were moving up their timeline. They know we're here, he told Park. They're starting the attack early. Alarms began sounding throughout Luna Base. Emergency lights flashed in the corridors, and automated voices announced, Security alert. All personnel report to stations. Park grabbed her communication device. Luna Base Command, this is Commander Park. The Zephyrians are initiating their attack. I repeat, we are under attack by Zephyrian forces. The response came immediately. Commander Park, you are ordered to stand down. There is no attack. The Zephyrians are our guests and peace partners. Chen took the communication device. Luna Base Command. This is Colonel Chen. The Zephyrians have explosives positioned throughout the base and assassination teams targeting all major leaders. You need to evacuate the conference center immediately. Colonel Chen, you are under arrest for treason and spreading false information during critical peace negotiations. An explosion shook the base, and the lights flickered. Then another explosion and another. The Zephyrians were destroying critical systems throughout Luna Base. Still think we're spreading false information? Chen asked into the communicator. This time a different voice responded. Admiral Rodriguez. Marcus, what's happening? We felt explosions, but the Zephyrians are saying it's a malfunction in the base's power systems. Admiral, the Zephyrians are lying. They're attacking the base. You need to get everyone out of the conference center now. Marcus, there's fighting in the corridors. Zephyrian honor guards are firing on our security teams. Chen felt no satisfaction in being proven right. Admiral, where are you now? Still in the conference center with most of the leadership. The Zephyrian guards here are claiming they're protecting us from unknown attackers. They are the attackers, Chen shouted. Get away from them immediately. The communication went dead. Chen turned to his team. We have to get to the conference center. The leadership is trapped with Zephyrian assassins. They ran through corridors filled with smoke and flashing emergency lights. Human security forces were engaged in firefights with Zephyrian troops throughout the base. The careful diplomatic facade had been completely abandoned. As they approached the conference center, they could hear the sounds of battle from inside. Chen looked through the reinforced windows and saw a scene from his worst nightmares. The conference center had become a war zone. Earth's most important leaders were trapped behind overturned tables while Zephyrian honor guards fired energy weapons at them. Admiral Rodriguez was bleeding from a head wound but still trying to coordinate the defense with her remaining security personnel. We have to get in there, Santos said. Chen studied the room layout. The main entrance is covered by Zephyrian positions. We need another way in. Park pointed to a maintenance access panel. The ventilation system connects to the conference center. If we can get through there, we might be able to flank them. They crawled through the ventilation passages while explosions and gunfire echoed throughout the base. Chen thought about Sarah and Emma again, but this time the memories gave him strength instead of pain. He was finally in a position to fight back against the creatures who had taken everything from him. The ventilation grate opened directly above the Zephyrian command position. Chen could see Ambassador Velthar directing the attack while his soldiers tried to eliminate the human leadership. "On my signal," Chen whispered to his team. He dropped through the grate directly onto Velthar, driving the alien ambassador to the ground. Santos and Kim followed, opening fire on the Zephyrian soldiers. Vasquez and Park provided covering fire from the ventilation shaft. The surprise attack disrupted the Zephyrian assault just enough for the human security forces to rally. Admiral Rodriguez led a counterattack from behind the overturned tables, while Chen fought hand-to-hand with Velthar. "You were supposed to be eliminated with the others," Velthar hissed as they struggled for control of a weapon. "I'm harder to kill than you thought," Chen replied, driving his elbow into the alien's throat. The battle raged for 20 minutes before the last Zephyrian soldier was eliminated. Chen stood over Velthar's body, breathing heavily and bleeding from multiple wounds. Admiral Rodriguez approached him, her uniform torn and bloody. "Marcus, I owe you an apology. And probably my life." Chen nodded but didn't smile. "What's the status of the other installations?" "Mars and Jupiter bases report similar attacks, but they were warned in time thanks to your intelligence. The Zephyrian assault failed at all locations." Park was monitoring communications from her portable terminal. "Colonel, the Zephyrian main fleet is retreating. Without the element of surprise and with their command structure exposed, they can't complete their final assault on Earth." Chen walked to the conference center windows and looked out at space. In the distance, he could see Zephyrian ships fleeing toward their own territory. The war was far from over, but humanity had survived the greatest threat it had ever faced. Santos approached him. "Sir, what happens now?" "Now we rebuild," Chen said. "We prepare for the next attack, and we make sure we never again mistake our enemy's deception for hope." Admiral Rodriguez joined them at the window. "Marcus, the Joint Chiefs want to promote you to general and put you in charge of intelligence operations for the entire war effort."